Hey everybody, we are going to be doing a notes video over similar figures today, and it's a pretty quick video, so figured I'd throw in something else for you just to amuse you a little bit. And it's a trick that I've been showing a lot of people around school, and it's just my floating cup trick. So as you see, just a normal styrofoam cup, nothing on my hands, look, nothing, no tape or anything like that, okay? And what we're going to do is, I'm going to see if I can make it, float a little bit. I really got to concentrate here, so. Whew, that's tough. Now, for those of you that don't know the trick, or after you watch this video might want to show the trick to somebody else, just get a little styrofoam cup like this. These usually work pretty well, and a little strategic hole in the back. And as you can see from here, it looks like it's floating, except if I move it like that you can see, so I gotta be real careful. So like that. So it's an illusion, not a trick, right? Okay, let's get started with our video notes. And again, this should be a pretty quick one, and it's going to be over similar figures. So let's zoom in a little bit here. Okay, so when we talk about similar figures, we need to know some important things about them, so let's look over some vocabulary for it. First, similar figures. The actual definition is figures that have the same shape, again, important, but not necessarily the same size. Now, there are some shapes that are always similar to each other, like a circle and another circle. Those are always similar to each other. Squares are all similar to all other squares. And equilateral triangles are equal to all other, or similar to, all other equilateral triangles. So just thought we'd give you a few different examples, so just to remind you, doesn't matter the shape, doesn't matter the size, they have the same shape, so therefore they are similar. The symbol that we use for similar is this one right here, a little squiggly looking equal sign, and that means similar to. So if I put a little squiggly line here between those, that means those two shapes are similar to each other. And then the other definition we want to look at is this symbol right here, which is an equal sign with the congruent symbol, or the similar symbol above it, and that means congruent or equal to. Okay, and those are, there's not really examples for those other than if you wanted to write, that in between two numbers or two shapes, that would work. Okay, so when we get to similar figures and we're going to solve how to do them, there are some things we need to remember. The first thing is that the corresponding sides are proportional and the corresponding angles are congruent. So when we're talking about angles, we would say they're congruent. When we talk about the sides of the shape, we're talking about those being proportional, and that's when shapes are similar. Okay, so when we go and we solve these problems, we're going to, I think the easiest way is to set up a proportion for them, or you just want to take the sides that are similar to, or that are proportional to each other. They're called corresponding. Okay, again, this is a very important word. Those are the shape, or the sides that actually go together. They're supposed to match each other proportionally. So if I look at this short side right here, that's 4. Okay, and maybe I write that right here. And then on this other shape, the side that matches it, well, even though the variable x is written over here, it's the same as this one over here. So I'm going to say, okay, the 4 goes with the x, and then down here I've got the 12, and the corresponding side with that is the 3. Now, once we've done that, we've got it set up correctly, we can then use that to solve our missing side, and this is just a normal proportion like we've been using. Now, you can look at this, I would hope, and figure out how to get from 3 to 12 or from 12 to 3, either way. So if you said to yourself, how do you get from 12 to 3? Well, you divide by 4. If you did the same thing up here, 4 divided by 4 would give you your answer. Or reducing this, simplifying it, would also work. But we do want to practice our solving. So 12 times x is 12x. 4 times 3 is 12. And when I divide both sides by 12, I get an answer of 1. So this side right here is 1. Okay, and from there we could be asked a lot of questions. They could say, what is the area of the new shape? Or the shape that you just found the missing side to? Well, the area of it is now 3. Because 1 times 3 is 3. Before that, 4 times 12, it was 48. So it got a lot smaller, obviously. They could also ask you the new perimeter. Well, 3 plus 1 is 4. Plus 4 again is 8. So it went from 16. This one had a perimeter of 32. This one now has a perimeter of 8. So once we find missing sides, sometimes they ask us more questions involved after that. Okay? All right, so let's look at another one. Example 2, right down here. It says the rectangular prisms shown below are similar. Okay? The smaller prism has a length of 6, a width of 4, and a height of 8. The larger prism has a height of 24. Okay, so here's your height, 24. And it corresponds with the 8 over here. What is the width of the larger prism? Well, we're going to make sure we know which one was the width. So it said the width was 4. So that's the one we're trying to find. So down here, the corresponding side we're trying to find is this one here. So to solve for this, we're not going to use this 6 at all because it's not really involved. So I'm going to match up the sides that correspond with each other. The 8 goes with the 24 over here. This I'm not caring about. This 4 goes, okay, it's on the same shape as the 8. So 8 over 4. This one I'm trying to find goes here. Then I do my cross products. 8 times x is 8x. 24 times 4 is 96. And I find out that my answer is 12. And that should make sense also if we look at it. Isn't 8, half of 8 is 4, so half of 24 is 12, and that's just another way to check. Now, that doesn't always work out that easily. A lot of times it doesn't, but sometimes there's an easy way to check it. Okay, next, number 3, example 3. A certain tree casts a 40-foot shadow. At the same time, Roberto, who is 6 feet tall, cast a 5-foot shadow. What is the height of the tree? Remember, this tree that they're talking about, we don't know. So, draw a picture. That's a good way to do it. Okay, there's my beautiful tree, which I don't know the height of, but I do know that it casts a 40-foot shadow on the ground. So that's going to be my 40 right there. Then Roberto, who is 6 feet tall, there's Roberto. Hi, Roberto. Casts a shadow. Let's see if I can do this. There's his shadow on the ground, and he casts a 5-foot shadow. So again, we want to set up our proportion so that I'm talking about the corresponding sides, and that is the x and the 6 go together and the 40 and the 5 go together. Another way to do this is you just take your pencil or your pen, whatever, and draw lines in the same place on both shape, and you have actually set up your proportion right there. X over 40 and 6 over 5. They actually match up together. And if you look, you can see there's 6 over 5, 6 over 5. The x goes with the 6, and the 40 goes with the 5. Now again, you might be able to look at this and solve it. If you work backwards, you can figure out how to get from 5 to 40. Just do the same thing to the 6. But again, we are going to do our cross products. 5x equals 240. Divide both sides by 5, and you would get an answer of 48. Okay, now we got a U-try problem. So really quick, pause the video, and then when you come back, it should be done. Okay, we're back. It says Destiny wants to resize a photograph for a gift. Resize means to change the size, make it bigger, make it smaller. So the photograph is 12 inches wide, and I'm just going to start drawing it right now. 12 inches wide and 23 inches long. So there's my picture. Okay. If the length of the reduced or made smaller, and again it says length, so make sure you're careful with that. And reduced means it's going to be smaller. So even if I don't draw it the same size, I should be able to figure it out just the way it looks when I'm done with this. So if the length is 5.75, well, the length on this one was 23. So that means this is this length right here. What is the height? Well, the height is going to be this one right here. Now, at the very end, it says if Destiny wants to put a piece of ribbon around the outside of the reduced photograph, how many inches? Okay, so we're going to have some extra work at the end there. So, we're going to set up our corresponding sides. The 12 is across from the X. The 23 is across from the 5.75. This is going to take a little bit of extra work with all the math. I understand that, but if we know how to set these up, then we shouldn't have much of a problem actually doing the work. That's just going to be some arithmetic. So I'm going to cross multiply. 23x equals, and when you did 12 times 5.75, you should have gotten exactly 69. And then when you divide both sides by 23, you should have gotten an answer of exactly 3. And that should make sense. If I messed up this proportion at all, this answer would not match up with this. It would be probably way too big for this. This side should be shorter. So if I'm saying that side is 3, that should make some sense. Okay? Last thing, which of the following statements is not true about similar figures? Not true. Are corresponding sides congruent? Yep. Are corresponding angles congruent? Yes, they are. Are corresponding sides proportional? Yep. And they are the same shape. Well, look at that. We got all 4 of these. So what are we supposed to do here? My guess is that this should say the same size because they're not the same size. I'm guessing this is a mistake. Because corresponding sides, oh, I take that back. This is the answer. Corresponding sides aren't going to be congruent because congruent means equal to. So see how I checked all the answers? That one seemed right. That I seemed right. All these seemed right, but then I went back and read this again. Corresponding sides are congruent. Well, that means equal. So that means it would be the same figure. So that's why that one is not true. Kind of tricky, I know. Okay, so we're all done with that. Make sure you have those notes done, and we'll see you all in class. Bye.